Okay, so now we're going to be factoring completely. This puts everything together, so that's why I've been stressing the importance of you seeking help earlier and using my keys to check all your work. Please, I wrote in all your corrections from yesterday right in Google Classroom if you did it in the classroom and submitted before 3. So first you're going to look for your GCF today, okay? Tomorrow there might be something else first. Then continue factoring using one of the 3 other methods we've done: dots, add, multiply, or split the middle. Okay, so here, number 1, looking for a GCF, both terms could be divided by x. The lower power of x is just x to the first. That's the GCF. So you always have to write the GCF in front of the parentheses and not forget that. When I divide, I get x squared minus x divided by x is 1. Now I have 2 factors. The GCF factor, which is out here, and the other factor, which is in the parentheses, is now going to be able to get factored again for the first time. So for our next step, I have to first bring down that x. Then, looking at x squared minus 1, I have to figure out, is that a dots, an add multiply, or a split the middle? It is a difference of 2 perfect squares. So I can get my square root of x squared is x, my square root of 1 is 1, and write those 2 factors, x plus 1, x minus 1, and I still have that x out in front. So now your final answer is 3 terms. 3 factors: x, x plus 1, x minus 3. Those 3 factors would first multiply back to this and then back to the original polynomial. Okay, so here is your final answer. You want to make sure all these answers, when the directions say to factor completely, have 3 factors instead of 2. Could even be more than that, but not today. Okay. Again, first looking for the GCF. 2 and 50 could both be divided by 2. They both have an x in it. The smaller power of x is just x by itself. So that's the GCF that I'm going to write first in front of the parentheses. A lot of you have been forgetting to write that GCF in the front. Then I'm going to divide and get x squared minus, you have to remember, x divided by x is going to cancel out. The 50 divided by 2 is 25. So again, I have my GCF in the front and then my binomial factor now again in the parentheses, which again is a difference of 2 squares. So I'm going to bring down that 2x again in the front, the GCF, and instead of x squared minus 25, which is a difference of 2 perfect squares, I'm going to get the square root of each of those, x and 5, and get x plus 5, x minus 5 inside the parentheses. So again, my final answer is 3 factors, and this is what it's going to look like when it's GCF and then dots. One more for this video. Looking at the 2 terms, there's no number I could divide them both by. They both have the base of x. What's the lower power? 4. So I'm going to divide them both by x to the 4th power. Then I'm going to get x to the 4th minus x to the 4th divided by x to the 4th goes, and I'm left with 81. Then I'm going to bring down the x to the 4th. And I have a difference of 2 perfect squares. So I'm going to get my square root of x to the 4th, which is x squared, square root of 81, which is 9, and I get x squared plus 9, x squared minus 9. So I actually misspoke earlier, because here we have an example that one of these 3 factors can still be factored again. Do you see which one it is? X squared minus 9 is still a difference of 2 perfect squares. In the other examples, the factors were not factorable anymore. So here I would bring down the x to the 4th. I'm bringing down the binomial that had a plus sign there because that's not a difference of two perfect squares. And now the x squared minus 9 is going to break down into two further factors. Square root of x squared is x, square root of 9 is 3, and that's x plus 3 and x minus 3. So in this example, our final answer is actually 4 factors. That GCF in the front still x to the 4th, and then 3 binomial factors.